This phone has a 100 megapixel main shooter, but the question is, worth it ba siya kunin? Hey guys, my name is Avram, and for this video, we're going to be talking about the Honor 90 Lite 5G, which is with me right here. So like I said, the main selling point for this phone seems to be that 100 megapixel camera, but there's more to it than meets the eye. But let's go with a quick rundown of the specs first. This phone is powered by Dimensity 6025G processor with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of internal storage. It has a 6.7-inch Full HD IPS display with 90Hz refresh rate. You get 16 megapixels for that front camera, 100 megapixel main shooter, 5 megapixel ultra-wide, and 2 megapixel macro. You have a 4000 mAh battery and 22.5 watts charging. This phone is also priced at 12,990 pesos here in the Philippines. Now, with everything that I've said so far when it comes to the specs, again, the main selling point for this seems to be that 100 megapixel main shooter. Now, let's talk about that even further. Sa totoo naman, okay naman ang performance ng 100 megapixel main camera na to. I think it is given with that high resolution. It's all the more seen in favorable lighting conditions, and you have to adjust your expectations when it comes to low light. The thing is, we noticed a lot was sacrificed along the way just to get that 100 megapixel main shooter, but we'll talk more about that as we go along. Like I said, you have to adjust your expectations when it comes to low light conditions. May night mode ang phone na to, pero there is a tendency for noise to seep in from time to time when taking those photos, just as you can see in these sample shots. Maganda din ang selfie camera nito. There is a tendency for it to be a bit whitewashed when it comes to brightly lit scenarios, lalo na pag outdoor shots, so you have to adjust your settings when it comes to that. And I feel like it's all the more better if you have your own lighting systems. Again, going back to those low light conditions, mas makakatulong talaga when it comes to this phone. Now, when it also comes to the camera, one thing that we can take a look at is the video capacity of this phone. So I took some shots at BGC and take a look at the quality here. Okay, quickly test lang natin yung camera performance ng Honor 90 Lite 5G. So far, by the looks of it, it still maintains that brightness that I like. Later on, we'll see once we get back in the studio, musta din yung audio. But by the looks of it, mukhang okay siya, guys. So as you can see with that video, I felt like medyo nahirapan siya with the low light conditions. There were, again, a bit of noise that seeped in. The audio quality was pretty okay. It's not the best out there. Medyo mukhang muffled siya from time to time. But it's pretty okay pampatawid when it comes to posting on your social media accounts. But here's the thing, when you put the photos of this phone side by side with other phones in the market available today, even with those with a lower megapixel count, the difference is just very minimal. So the question is, was it worth it to get that 100 megapixel main shooter given the other parts of this phone as well? Una, let's talk about the design. You get a pretty simple design when it comes to this phone. You get this nice cyan color, which I like, has a gradient look to it, but it's very simple in my humble opinion. During our time with this phone for this review, we noticed that some of the paint for the phone, especially in the back panel and around the camera module, started to flake off, which isn't a good sign when it comes to durability, but I guess that is something that's easy to fix with a simple case. Majority of the makeup of this phone is made out of plastic. That's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to phones, but it looks like a lot of things were spared to get that main shooter. And the camera module setup looks pretty cool, looks a bit different, but again, everything just looks simple considering that you have a 100 megapixel main shooter. Moving on to the front, which is the display of this phone, we get an LCD display which isn't AMOLED, and that's something that medyo nalungkot ako given that I love to stream movies on Netflix and Disney+. But honestly, watching Powerpuff Girls on Netflix with this phone was actually pretty decent. Okay naman na siya because the colors are very accurate, very vibrant and punchy, so pwede na rin siya. When it comes to the hood, you get a Dimensity 6025G processor, which is an all-around okay processor when it comes to a daily driver, especially for productivity use and occasional gaming from time to time. Given the fact that it also has a 4500 mAh battery, pwedeng-pwede na rin siya when it comes to those tasks that you need to accomplish. Now, when it comes to its charging speeds, it may not be the best when it comes to the competition because you get a 22.5-watt charger. So that means you have to juice this bad boy fully before you leave because hindi siya ganun kabilis, lalo na kung nagmamadali ka umalis. So that's basically what the Honor 90 Lite 5G has to offer. Now, when compared to its brother, the Honor 90, it's clear that there were some corners cut along the way just to get to that 100 megapixel main shooter. Now, to be honest, there are phones available in the market today with a similar price tag that offer the same amount of megapixels such as this phone, but have a better quality when it comes to the display, the battery, and etc. Now, if you're looking for a phone as a daily driver, this is a phone that may very well suit your needs, but again, you just have to be aware of the caveats that come along with it. So that's pretty much it for this review of the Honor 90 Lite 5G. What are your thoughts about this phone? Leave us a comment down below. My name is Avram, and don't forget, God bless guys, and peace!